Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Ted in Your Head podcast. I'm your host, Ted Moreno. I'm a hypnotherapist and coach, and I do some other stuff too. I'm a dad. I play guitar, right? But I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast. And so here we are. We're at the beginning of December. We're kind of on that long track to New Year's and the new year. And of course, everybody has mixed feelings about this. Some people are very excited. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Other people are like, really? Already? Okay, so, everybody's putting up their Christmas trees, their Christmas lights, assuming that you celebrate Christmas. Some people don't. Other people, of course, from other faiths kind of do their own thing. And many schools are doing their Christmas shows, Christmas pageants. And so when I was in sixth grade in East Los Angeles, here in Southern California, when I was in sixth grade, I was chosen to play Charlie Brown in my school's production of A Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, unless you're from another planet, then you know that Charlie Brown is the lovable loser of the famous comic strip Peanuts. In A Charlie Brown Christmas, Charlie Brown finds himself depressed with the approach of Christmas, despite all the decorations, cards, and presents. And as fate would have it, I was chosen in the seventh grade to play the Grinch in our school's production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And again, unless you've been living in a cave all your life, or maybe you're living in another country, you may be familiar with the story of the Grinch, who is a bitter, cave-dwelling creature who lives on the top of Mount Crumpet. He looks down on the residents of Whoville with distaste and envy as they prepare for Christmas. And I honestly don't know whether it was my incredible ability to transform myself into any character, probably not, or perhaps it was my own somewhat cynical nature, even as a kid, probably. But my experience in the past with holidays has been very similar to these two characters, the Grinch and Charlie Brown. So when the holidays would come along when I was a kid, and I'm talking about maybe, up until I was maybe 18 or 19. When the holidays came around, I'd either get annoyed by the commercialization of the season, or I'd look with disdain on those that started to scurry around right after Thanksgiving, gathering gifts and decorations like little squirrels gathering nuts. In other words, I would pretty much get a case of the holiday blues each winter. Just like Charlie Brown, I'd muddle through each season with melancholy and or aggravation, or like the Grinch, I'd simply refuse to participate. Maybe I thought I would be able to steal Christmas and stop it from coming by staying perched on top of my mountain of cynicism. But come it did. Either way, I simply did not enjoy the holidays or look forward to them coming. Hence the title of my podcast today, Good Grief, Do You Have the Holiday Blues? Well, there wasn't really anything in my life to be depressed about at that time. I mean, there was the normal school and parents on top of my case, and I had 7 siblings, so it was always noisy and crowded. And by the time I got to college, I was still kind of carrying these Christmas blues around pretty much every season. But again, things were okay. I almost always managed to get home to be with my parents and my siblings. I never had anything tragic happen during the holidays. I always had enough money to buy some token gifts. I knew many people who could not say the same. And so I would just kind of trundle through the holidays and try to find a way to get through it, looking forward to when it was all done and over. So that was kind of my state of mind, actually up until my mid to late 20s, I felt this way. Sad, melancholy, kind of aggravated and depressed. Anyway, It was in the last few days of the 90s. It was December 25th, 1999. I found myself sitting in the Saguaro National Park outside Tucson, Arizona, where I was living. Now, if you've ever had the good fortune of being to Saguaro National Park in Tucson, Arizona, it's really an incredible, incredible place filled with these very stately saguaro cactus and a very, very peaceful place. I'm just so lucky to have spent a lot of time there. And it was one of those few years that I didn't make it back to Los Angeles for whatever reason. I had to work, I think. So on that particular day, Christmas Day, I had hiked into the desert on that clear, sunny morning to sit in the warm sun and just be by myself. I remember I had my shirt off. It was that warm that day. And at first it felt strange that I wasn't hanging out with some friends or really even maybe not going to church or a party. But you know what? Sitting there in that magnificent desert, for me, felt more peaceful than being in a church or a party or any other normal festivity that you might do during the holidays. And I realized then that I had a choice, that I could make the holidays mean whatever I wanted them to mean, or ignore them completely if I chose. I also realized that if I wanted to feel cynical or depressed, well, that was my choice as well. The reality occurred to me that I was indeed very fortunate to be sitting there in that desert in the first place, that I had someone to call, many people to call if I wanted to, and that I really didn't have anything to complain about. And all the annoyance and all the aggravation and even some of the melancholy were just kind of my own desire to, I don't know what it was, to just not participate, I suppose, not only in the holidays, but in life. So I made the decision then and there to quit playing the holiday blues and find a new tune. And certainly got better after I got married and had kids, of course. Being a part of a family was helpful, but it began earlier than that. My ability to drag myself out of melancholy and aggravation and cynicism. I just made the decision that I was going to take what I could from that season. And one of the most important things I did was I started going outside a lot more, even when it was cold, to appreciate the beauty of winter. Perhaps you're out of work right now. Maybe you've lost someone dear to you at this time of year, and this causes a lot of people sadness and depression. Or maybe you're suffering from other challenges, either emotional, physical, or financial. If so, try to realize that there's a lot of different ways you can play your tune. If the song you're hearing is doing nothing for you, you can create your own meaning about this time of year. You can do whatever you want to. You can do whatever resonates with you. You can create your own traditions or not. It's your life. Play your own music. Play and connect with and resonate with what you hear deep down inside. Get some alone time. Get yourself some peace. Or if alone time doesn't work for you, get together with your besties and talk about what's going on and how you're feeling. Don't drag yourself through the holiday season like I used to do, with all kinds of conflicting and negative emotions. There is a lot of beauty at this time of year if we choose to look for it. So, I'll be honest with you, what I do sometimes, not so much anymore, but what I used to do a lot, and this is just between you and me, when I was really down, I would go to YouTube and I would play the Snoopy dance, and I would do the Snoopy dance by myself. And I'll put a link in the show notes so you can watch that, right? I think it's called Linus and Lucy. You know what song I'm talking about, right? So, if nothing else, do the Snoopy dance And here's Snoopy right here, right? Because I was Charlie Brown. So if you're watching this on video, you can see Charlie Brown's little tree back there. So anyway, look, if you need some help this season, reach out to me at tedmoreno.com. Click on the contact menu. Send me an email and we'll talk. Find out if there's a way we can work together and help you out a little bit. Here's a wonderful quote. A wonderful quote by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The holiest of all holidays are those kept by ourselves in silence and apart, the secret anniversaries of the heart. This is such a beautiful quote. So, thanks for listening. Stay warm, centered, and grounded. Bye now.